What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another show with the Worldwide Twins. Today, we're going to be
What
talking
up?
about NFTs in music, whether you're an artist, a musician, anything like that. We're going to talk about a few ways on how you can incorporate blockchain technology and NFTs and your current work that you do. Awesome. All right, so now we're going to be jumping into the first topic about NFTs in music and musicians. One of the first things is going to be if you purchase merchandise directly through that artist and what you can get with that merchandise. One of the things that you could get could be a certain, album or mixtape that is only released. Say if you bought a certain shirt or a certain hat from that artist, and you and everybody who bought that product, whatever it is the only one that gets access to that mixtape and album. So that is definitely one thing that you can apply it if you're selling merch and you have maybe a mixtape, or maybe you don't even have anything put together yet. Artists and everything like that always record a lot of songs. So maybe they're going to have certain songs that didn't make it to the album or the mixtape, but, they were very good songs, but they just couldn't release it, because album sells and maybe it wouldn't have did good on the album. Or maybe it couldn't be cleared because of certain samples. So this is definitely going to be interesting. Artists, they record tens and hundreds of songs for an album, and then from there they only select maybe 10 or 20 that actually make it. So definitely would love to see that. I even know Chris Brown, he said that he had recorded like 144 songs to only make like a 10 or 20 project album. So even from him, that would be dope to see. If you bought a certain Chris Brown hat or something, get maybe 20 unreleased songs on blockchain technology through that NFT. That would be dope to see. Gabe, what were other things that you would love to see NFTs incorporated with musics and artists and musicians?
So things I'm looking forward to is pretty similar to what you said. That would be awesome to get early release projects. B-sides would be awesome as well. The ones that didn't make the cut. Even if we're able to pull up, maybe spend a week and maybe the meta world at Chris Breezy's mansion.
That would be dope to see.
How cool would that be to hang out? What is that network gonna be like? Even just being there, who are you gonna meet? Who are you gonna rub shoulders with in the metaverse or any other world for that matter? So that's one thing I'm looking forward to. Just little knickknacks like that. Of course, with the ownership as well, just being that person to say, hey, I got this.
And that's pretty badass idea. Purchasing some type of merchandise and getting access to a virtual party, either through the metaverse or through any of the sandbox worlds that are being built and created right now at the time. There's a lot out right now. I believe there's like over 50 or 100 different type of virtual worlds that you can enter into. Meta more than likely going to be the biggest one and the most known one. They literally created and changed the name of Facebook to Meta for the metaverse. So definitely they're going to be one of the biggest ones. Seeing exactly what Gabe said, I think that would be a dope and badass idea, where you purchase merchandise and get access to a virtual party in the metaverse or any of the sandbox worlds. Definitely a dope concept. Would love to see that. Have it be, something in the metaverse. Chris Breezy's going to have his dope ass mansion there. Snoop Dogg's going to have his mansion in there. So buying a Snoop CD and getting the party with Snoop in the metaverse, I think that's a dope ass idea. Because you're actually going to be able to connect with, say, Snoop Dogg in the metaverse that you would never have access to in real life. So anything like that in the meta world is going to be dope to see with the NFT blockchain technology and with music as well. Something else that would be pretty cool would be to get maybe some merchandise from the actual artist in itself. Maybe you buy a hat or maybe they have their own shoe, like the YG shoes, and then you get maybe shoes in the meta world or metaverse that you can also wear there. That would also be dope to see that incorporated, maybe with the Kanye Yeezys, especially with him leaving Gap and Adidas right now, branching away from them. Definitely would love to see that with Kanye and the Yeezys. definitely would probably be one of the biggest shoes worn in the metaverse or meta world. Anything like that, if they were if you did buy some Yeezys in real life and had access to them in the metaverse as well, definitely would be dope to see, especially by Kanye. He's one of the biggest artists ever. You can just say ever after that. And all right, so another trending topic right now is actually Kanye leaving Adidas and Gap. And one of the main reasons why he left them is because they had pretty much just started taking all of his designs and his ideas and passing them along as if they created them themselves. You've seen it with the Adidas. How many Adidas do we have that looked exactly like Kanye's ideas? And then Adidas dropped them, a few weeks later. In some of the cases, I believe they maybe had tried to drop them before Kanye actually released those products. But, definitely it's not anything new that's happened, in this industry. It's nothing new. We've seen this time and time again, even in the own music industry. You've had in the 50s, the Beach Boys were taking other people's songs and passing them along as if they were their own. And they weren't their own. They were ripping other people's songs off, but they were being more known for it. So this is nothing new. Definitely I definitely love to see Kanye leaving those brands for that. In my opinion, I always thought Kanye didn't need those brands after he had left Nike. In my opinion, Kanye could have created his brand, Yeezy, and had nothing to do with Adidas, and it would have been, maybe just as big. Maybe it would have been a little less known, but anyways, he would have still done great with that business. Key things I think on why he maybe joined with Adidas is, obviously for distribution. If his Yeezys were through Adidas, it was gonna be easier to distribute him. Yeah. He didn't have to figure out that problem or solve that problem of how am I gonna send out 1 million Yeezys, because he's probably sold over I don't know how many millions of Yeezys. So if he had that problem on his own, he maybe have not been able to figure it out as quickly. Another thing was obviously advertising and marketing. He probably didn't have to spend any of his own money advertising and marketing for his Yeezys because Adidas was pushing it and they were pushing all the marketing and advertising. So he had that with him as well. But he also had his own fan base before any of that. But he also had his fan base way before he had before he signed with Adidas again. He still had he didn't have to spend necessarily a whole bunch on advertising and marketing, but maybe it wouldn't have been as known had he not signed with Adidas. But I believe he would have sold millions and millions of Yeezys. We've seen it time and time again. People paying outrageous prices for the Yeezys. And I think I would have loved to see if he was able to produce more Yeezys by himself and just did that solo route. I think he would have had a way better deal had he did that, because he was going to be creating everything. He wouldn't have had to go through Gap or had to go through Adidas. Definitely love to see Kanye leaving both of those companies. Hate to see that he got played and used like that through both of these, these big clothing companies that a lot of people look up to in the space of clothing. So, not anything new, but hate to see him play like that, but love to see him leave. Gabe, what do you think about everything?
My thoughts on everything, it's about time. Like Josh had mentioned, there was, I don't know how many shoes I've seen on people in person, and I was like, oh shit, I didn't even know Yeezy made that. Yeah. And then I'm like, oh, okay, those aren't even Yeezys. Wow, okay, Adidas, what are y'all doing? What are y'all doing here? Yeah. And even when I was in the store, looking at shoes, I'm looking and I'm like, damn, these look like Yeezys, but they're not Yeezys. I kind of want to get them, but at the same time, I don't want to support that. Them taking exactly what you're saying, taking from his branding, the designs like replicated. So I'm glad to see him go the independent route. Similar to YG, YG's shoe looks pretty close to the Cortez as well, but he's not signed with Nike. He's not anything like that affiliated with Nike in any type of way, and he's still selling out those shoes, which are they're fly. They're fly as well. So I love to see the artists, them trying to find their own way and go their own way instead of getting played over and having what they've worked so hard to build up. And that's why a lot of us buy the shoes anyway. We're buying the likeness of that person, that individual. not necessarily the Nike, the Adidas name or anything like that. You know, because me personally, I like more Nike and Jordan over Adidas, but it does have Kanye's name on it, so it makes me like that part of Adidas.
So I mean, you definitely seen a lot of fake Yeezys or knockoffs of Yeezys, especially when they first dropped around 4 or 5 years ago. At the time, I believe I was working at Marshall's in the back, and I would process the shoes. Sometimes I would be in the shoe department as well. And, I would see a lot of these fake knockoff Yeezys coming in. Even if you go to Walmart, especially when they first dropped, you would see a stupendous amount of knockoff Yeezys. You go to the flea market, same thing. Everybody was trying to copy off Kanye's creativeness and his designs and ideas that he places along just with that simple shoe. A lot of people called it ugly or whatever at first, but, yet so many millions of people are buying them and wearing them every single day. So you can say what you want, but people are loving them and people are trying to knock them off just to replicate his ideas and design. So, definitely love to see him walk away from Adidas and Gap, but everybody tried to copy off him. Nike would probably copy off him too if they could and get away with it, but there'd be a big lawsuit right away. But I think even Nike wants to create their own type of Yeezy, but they just can't. All right, y'all. We want to leave y'all with some action steps if you are thinking about getting started in real estate. We briefly talked about before, the power of networking. If you do want to get your first deal, definitely go hit, your local networking events. Join all your local Facebook groups. If you want to get in real estate, it could be any topic that you do want to get involved. Whether that's knitting, just change, the real estate part into what you like. It could be, a gun club or whatever. But right now, specifically, we're going to talk about how to get started and how to do, your first real estate deal, how to start getting leads and how to start talking to those people. So, Gabe, right now we want to cover driving for dollars. It was one of the first ways I got my first deal I locked up, like I mentioned in the last episode. And I got a deal locked up. It wasn't the first one that I closed. Like we mentioned before, we had a few properties that we had, got an agreement with the seller and homeowner before we did actually get a property an agreement that closed. So, and this particular one, I want to go over, driving for dollars, things to look out for, because, these are definitely, properties that you can invest in and either fix and flip, wholesale to a flipper, wholesale to a buy and hold owner, somebody landlord. So let's get right into it. All right. So what is driving for dollars? What does it cover? So driving for dollars, it pretty much means that you're going to go around your local market and look for distressed properties or look for any types of properties that need love. There could be a couple signs with that. I'm going to have Gabe go over that in a minute, but you're just looking for, properties that aren't in the best of shape, and you're going to take down the addresses and, pretty much put them on a list. And there's certain softwares you can use to make this easier. When I first started, I don't really think there were any of these softwares out. And what I used to do was, I would just have a pen and pad, and I used to just write down the street name, and then I would drive the street and I would just start writing the numbers on the street. And so that's how I used to do it. Now it's way easier, way simpler to do everything. Gabe, what do you want to let the people know? What are the things they should be looking out for when driving for dollars?
So things you're going to want to be looking out for when you are, driving for dollars. Let's say you selected the area that you're going to be driving, your route and everything. You got that covered. Now what you're going to be looking out for is, signs of distress. You're going to be looking for those long, the grass that looks like it hasn't been mowed in about 2 or 3 months. You don't want to see signs of those. The yellow cards that are typically in front of property sometimes, those are called code violations. You're going to want to, if you see those, throw those on your list as well. The properties, the roof looks like it needs to be repaired. There's nothing but old cars. You don't want to pay attention to some of the cars in the neighborhood as well. It's going to give you a feel for, okay, who is the ideal person that's staying in this neighborhood? What working class are they? Are they middle, upper class? What is it? And that's going to give you a feel of how long these people are staying here. Is this a renter's neighborhood? Is it a flipping neighborhood? What's going on? And the more you drive that same area, you're going to get a way better feel for it. You're going to know what's going on, and you're going to become that little light bulb. If anybody asks you about that area, maybe it's a buyer, you're going to know it like the back of your hand as well as they do, because they're potentially the ones who's going to look for a property there anyway. But you're going to want to see those. Like I said, I don't want to get too off topic of that. You don't want to see the roof, the little signs of distress, the windows, broken glass, windows. If you see the garbage dumps where they're kind of clearing that property out, it could be a flip going on in that area, and right there you could get a buyer. There's a buyer in that area if you see a flip going on, the dump trucks and everything like that. Ask them, hey, are you looking for any more flips here? What are you buying at?
Right, because they may be flipping the property. They may be a landlord and, just fixing it up. They may have just bought it, going to fix it up and rent it back out on the market. So they should be looking out for, you said, tall grass, any yellow signs in the front. So those are the code violations, you said?
Code violations.
You said they should also look for messed up roofs, any roofs falling apart. Caving in,
and any signs of vacancy where you, especially
for sure,
favorite thing to do, drive it around 5 to 6 in the afternoon, 7ish. Drive it while there's still a good amount of light. If it looks vacant, throw that thing on your list too, because there's a good chance that nobody is living there, and while nobody's living there, maybe they're thinking of selling it. Maybe you could create that solution for a problem that may be there and you don't even know it.
Yeah, so definitely a few tips to go alongside with what Gabe said. You always want to look for vacancy. A good way to look for vacancy, besides pulling the vacant list, would be to figure out when trash day is. If you know when the trash day is in that area.
That's a good one.
Yeah, you can go around, if trash day is, say, Tuesday morning. If it's Tuesday morning, they pick up the trash Tuesday morning. Go Monday night, drive the area. Any ones that don't have a trash can outside, before it gets dark, a little after dark, more than likely nobody's going to be living there. If they were, the trash should already be out on the street. I mean, some people do it, trash the same morning. So maybe you do it in the morning time or at the night before. But I would definitely do it on trash day. You're going to find out who's living in that neighborhood and who's not. And what Gabe said, you can go around a little later at night. Sometimes, typically if somebody's living in the house or living there, they're going to have the outside light on. If you go around and it's a little darker, maybe before the sun fully sets, and notice the light still isn't on, I would definitely put that house on my list as well. And if you're wondering out, hey, where do I market to? How do I know which neighborhood to drive? We're going to also give you a few tips on that. So one thing is to find out the hottest zip codes in the market. There are a few ways to do that. I would love to go over that in another video. If you don't know how to do that right now, I'll give you another tip, is to find out the median home sale in your area and drive in the areas where those prices apply. So if the median home sale in your area is, say, 200,000, or for your city or for your county is 200,000, then go in the areas that the prices for the houses are 200,000 and below. Don't go into the ones that are 300,000 or 400,000. Were you about to mention something?
Okay, so you're saying to go after those?
Yeah, go in that area that they're 200,000 and below. Whatever the market value is, or the average median price in that area, the county, the city is. Just find out, what zip codes are below 200,000 in Houston or whatever, and then you can go target those areas without having to find the hottest zip codes. Because, like I said, I would love to cover that in another video, so you know how to find them. But even sometimes when you do the hottest zip codes, they're going to be in the higher price point. So I know at least for Houston, if I do that, maybe the top 5 to 10, they're going to be in the higher price points where they're not really in that median or the average home price in the area. So just doing what I said, look for the average home price. Go into the area. If you know a certain area is, say, the hood, but it's maybe on the upcoming, is being gentrified, those are always good areas. Typically, those are going to be touched a lot, though, by other builders, developers, wholesalers, flippers, because
Right.
they're all trying to do deals in a part that's being gentrified. But those areas are also good. They're typically very hot in those areas for real estate. So if you do get a deal in that area, it could be a messed up house. Maybe it's a complete teardown and you lock it up, you get it under contract, and you sell it to a developer who can maybe develop one property on it. Maybe they could develop 3 to 5 on it. And, it's going to depend on the lot size and things like that. But that's definitely a play you could also have. Look for houses that are that need to be torn down in an area of development, and you get at that lot value. That's what I would, lock up the
Property at lot value if it's a tear down.
Yeah, if it's a tear down, always get that lot value minus demolition. So with lot value 75,000 and you need 10,000 to demo it, get the property at, if you can sell it at 65, lock the property up at 50 to 55,000 and make 10 or 15 on
as low as possible. But if that's where you have to get it right there.
For sure. So those are just a few tips. Go into areas where they're being developed. Look for either lots. You can look for lots, houses that need to be torn down. If you know a certain area is upcoming in your certain market, go to that area as well. There may not be as many houses because they're more fixed up in this area, but you're always looking for the treasure property. You're gonna want the ugliest property in the best neighborhood. If you can find that, you got that crack, and it's gonna sell. And really, that's it. I mean, over here, Katy, Texas, Cinco Ranch is pretty popular. If you find a property in that area that's completely messed up, it's gonna sell like hotcakes on Friday night, baby. Ooh. That's just how it is. But say you get, a nice neighborhood a nice property in a not as good neighborhood, it's a little harder to do something with that because it's already fixed up, and there's not as much exit strategies. But I mean, having a messed up property in an upcoming area or decent area, it should still sell. And, things like, and it should still sell. You should still be able to sign it. So as long as you're in a market or a county, a zip code where you see transactions going on, that would, I would definitely target that area. If you're wondering, how do I see these transactions? If you don't have MLS access, that is through a realtor. You either need to be a realtor or have their login. If you don't have that, I would suggest Zillow and Redfin, where you can see the activity. You can type in a certain zip code and see all the properties that have sold in the past 6 months, year, 24 months to determine, hey, our property is actually selling in this area. And that's one way to do it if you don't have MLS access.
I would use PropStream.
Yeah, PropStream. Y'all need to send us that promo code, but PropStream, definitely a tool that you need to have in real estate if you are going to be doing real estate investing, wholesaling. Even if you're a realtor, I mean, it's definitely, a lot of good things and able to make money even if you're a realtor using PropStream.
You're able to, and even in PropStream, if you're not going to these networking events, you're not, when you're driving for dollars, you're not talking to the buyers that are there. You're able to pull cash buyers through this software as well. Call them the same way you're marketing to the sellers. You're going to be marketing to the buyers, and know exactly what they're looking for, the price, how they're buying the properties and everything like that as well. So just reverse engineer it with the buyers as well in PropStream.
For sure. And PropStream, I think they actually have the app where you can drive for dollars in it. Sometimes it's slow on my end, but I honestly wish I had that back in the day when I started driving for dollars and wholesaling. It would have definitely been a game changer back then. Still a game changer in today's time. There are a few other, softwares that you can use driving for dollars. PropStream is a pretty great one. You can also skip trace them through the app and call them right away. I believe you're also able to send like a postcard. Definitely a good software and app just to have if you're in real estate investing. Highly recommend it. It's $100 a month, but to me, it's a no-brainer if you're looking to do real estate. You're going to be able to pull a list from there. Before I pull any list, I would drive for dollars in those hot areas. Get more familiar with the area. If you're going to be marketing there, you're going to want to know what the houses are selling for and fully retail value, all the way fixed up, and what they're selling for.
Yep.
If they're not all the way fixed up, if they're just as is, you're going to want to know what cash buyers are buying them for. So getting connected with the realtor and finding that out is definitely also another good step I would recommend. and trying to do your first deal, drop for dollars. Use PropStream if you want to. If you don't have to, you could use a yellow notepad and do things like I did. It's gonna take a lot longer. PropStream is making that process way easier because it's all saves to a list and you're able to download it, and you can skip trace it directly through the system if you want. If not, use somebody else.
And that's today's episode that we have for you guys. Any message to the fans?
Don't forget to like the video if you liked it. Don't forget to comment your favorite part. What you think about what we talked about? You know, what do you want to see more about on the show? We'd definitely love to, you know, talk about certain topics y'all want us to talk about as well. Definitely want to spread that word out. You know, you got to be courageous in today's time. Spread love and positivity wherever you go. You know, don't go around, you know, looking for any type of trouble. Just, you know, be comfortable being yourself as well. Always believe in yourself and anything you do. You know, if you do want to create your certain channel or let your voice be known more, you got to have that belief in yourself and, you know, not care what anybody's going to think about you. I know that can be pretty hard to do if that's something that, you know, hinders you or affects you, but you got to get over it. You know, these people that are trying to hate on you or, you know, talk about you in any type of way, obviously they have a lot of time on their hand and they just want to bring you down. You know, anything that me and Gabe cover, you know, we don't try to slander anybody, or we just like to give our point of view, our thoughts, our ideas on the topic. So, you know, we're not trying to slander anybody in any type of way. We just want to promote, you know, this positivity around, talk about entrepreneurship, talk about real estate, talk about all these new things going on in today's world. Right now we're living in a crazy time. So, you know, definitely just want to say, just be yourself, believe in yourself, spread that positivity. Gabe, is there anything you want to leave everybody with?
No, I think that's a great note to close it on. You know, spread the positivity. Do what if that's something that you want to do. You know, whatever it is that you want to do, just do it. If it makes you happy, do it. You know, what makes me happy is not going to make somebody else happy. You know, somebody could be completely pissed off that I'm even doing this right now. But as long as I'm happy doing it, that's all that matters. Yeah,
and the only other thing I want to say is just take action in anything you want to start and remain consistent at it. You know, you're not going to be a master at anything until you hear it a lot, until you put in those 10,000 hours, until you put in, you know, that constant grind and what you want to, you know, blow up and achieve in your life. You gotta start taking action towards it and just remain consistent. Mm-hmm. And those are going to be one of the two biggest advice I could tell anybody is that stop. If you're thinking about starting, just start already and do it every damn day. Every damn day. Every day. And when you're thinking about stopping, continue doing it and do it every day. That's what consistency is. And if you want to read a book about consistency, I would highly recommend The Compound Effect. Mm-hmm. You know, definitely one of those things. If you know you're not to where you want to be, it's more than likely because of the habits that you're doing every day. So highly recommend The Compound Effect for, you know, a great book, very short, you can read it in probably the same day. That's all I have to leave y'all with. Do appreciate y'all watching and viewing the show. And like I said, comment what you like down below. What did you think about what we talked about? And what do you want us to talk about more? Other than that, we're going to catch y'all next time. In next week's episode, we're going to drop a few more episodes next week. So stay tuned for that. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Until next time, all right.